Hi friends, it's Tuesday, January 7th at about 7:45 Eastern Time. I'm happy to be here with you for this daily astrology chat live. My hope today is to speak a bit about the current astrology. I'm going to focus on the combination of Mars retrograde in Cancer with Venus exalted in Pisces. And then we'll talk a little bit more casually towards the end. So please feel free to put any questions or comments in the chat, and we will catch up at the end. I love this opportunity to connect with you on a community sort of level and answer any and all of your questions about astrology in general, about anything we discussed today, about your natal chart. I don't know everything about this stuff, that's for sure, or about anything else, but this is my favorite stuff to talk about. So I'm so happy to be here with you today. So I've been thinking a lot about this combination. I'm going to just go ahead and mark it on the chart, just for the sake of clarity. I've been thinking a lot about the combination of these energies that we have going on right now. Oops. We have both Mars retrograde in Cancer. This is a very new aspect. um, and this just came in yesterday, this Mars retrograde in Cancer. Mars will be retrograde in Cancer through the end of February and then direct through March. And then we also have Venus newly exalted in Pisces, here in Pisces. So this is Venus's absolutely favorite place to be in the sky. I did a video earlier in the week specifically about Venus and Pisces, but let me just grab my notes from that and review really quickly some big ideas connected to exalted Venus and Pisces, some of the things to watch for. And I will link at the end of this video as well to that one in case you want to check it out a little bit more. But basically, Venus is exalted in Pisces. And so we take all of those Venus traits, all of those Venus qualities like love and beauty and harmony, and we exalt them. And so instead of love, we have unconditional love. Excuse me, just a minute, taking a sip of my water. Also, sort of an idealistic quality can come in with this, right? A romantic idealism. Creativity is heightened. That love is deepened, so it's sort of on a spiritual level. Spiritual love can come in, a soul connection. It's not just compassion, it's sort of boundless compassion. It's empathy. It's compassion exalted to empathy. There can be some things to watch out for, like blurry boundaries or escapism, greater connectivity with the divine. Venus and Pisces offers in some beautiful signatures. Mars retrograde in Cancer is also bringing in so many interesting sensitivities at this time. It is sensitive, heightened sensitivity for better or worse. It's causing us to sort of review our emotional foundations, you know, go back to home, go back to the origin of certain emotional systems or wirings within us. It's can call up emotions to the surface that need to be healed, relationship issues to the surface that need to be worked with. It can be very protective. Sometimes I think that Mars in Cancer can get a bit of a bad rap because all Mars in all the water signs, because Mars moves differently when he's in a water sign, but it's not necessarily bad. And I think that that was why part of why I called today, I used the word vulnerability today. Mars in Cancer, especially retrograde, makes me think of vulnerability. And Vulnerability is an interesting thing in love and relationships, isn't it? I think it's the kind of thing where if you're vulnerable with the wrong person, it makes you less safe. But if you're vulnerable with the right person, it makes you more safe, right? Because in those good, real connections that we have in life, we want to show up for them um, completely. We want to be our true selves. We want to show up really authentically, and that's difficult to do. And it's not something that's safe to do everywhere. So it makes us quite vulnerable when we do that for a lot of reasons, right? To show up vulnerably isn't easy, but in the right hands, it deepens the connection. Whereas in the wrong hands, someone can exploit that as weakness or, use you against you later and things like this. So we want to be very discerning um, about who we're vulnerable with. But uh, in the right hands, it's a very powerful thing. And that is sort of makes me think of Mars and Cancer. That was something that I wanted to share about that signature. So combining them together, so interesting to have these two very deep emotional things going on right now with our Mars and our Venus in the sky. Right? What is this signifying about what's going on for us in our lives? What's going on with you guys in terms of uh, what's happening in your lives right now? Relationship themes, I think, are shifting and changing. We're all learning about relationships as we move and grow through life, you know. And these nodes just wrapping up. Where are we? Our nodes just wrapping up here in Aries and Libra. They taught us a lot about right relationship as well, where we were um, thinking about how to take good care of ourselves in order to be able to show up as well as possible for those loved ones around us and um, be a light for them because we're well cared for, um, and so much more. But I just think it's interesting to have this Mars Venus situation with both of the planets in such a unique position right after, just as we're wrapping up that 18 months of the nodes in Aries Libra. I've been thinking about the connection with that as well. And also just these relationship themes are going to continue to deepen as we go through the next couple of months because Venus will eventually go retrograde. And that is often a relationship theme thing. And Venus isn't just relationships at all. Harmony, beauty, money, um, many different themes. But okay, let me just say a couple things. I'm just going back to my notes here. It's one of those days where I feel like I have so much to say that if I don't use my notes, I'm sort of stepping on my own words and getting ahead of myself and then losing my place. So I think I'm getting the big ideas out here. I really wanted to mention that idea of vulnerability with the right people making us more safe and with the wrong ones making us more unsafe. I think there's something with that, with this Mars in Cancer retrograde that many of us are working with, perhaps, or that's available to be worked with if that's right for you right now. And then Venus and Pisces, I sort of did a little bit of a review of some of those potentials of that. It's such a sweet signature. It's Venus's favorite place to be. And Venus will be there for quite a long time because it will also be there during the retrograde. So, and in Aries. Pisces and late Pisces and early Aries is so interesting in the next few months ahead. If you have any planets or points in late Pisces, early Aries, they're really, there's a lot of activity there coming up. Okay, so let's put these things together and talk about some big ideas. One I was thinking of is healing, right? There's a potential for real healing with this. Emotional healing, even of old stuff. Sometimes it can be very hard to access old emotions. They can feel really stuck and stagnant, or we might not even realize the way that something from the past or an emotion is really affecting us when it's very old. It might just be sort of a tape we're running in the background that is having an impact on our self concept or the way we connect with others. Um, and we don't even realize it. It's just part of our sort of operating system. So I think the chance to get in and heal some of that stuff is great. And I think that's really possible with the combination of these two signatures, sort of the action, the digging of that Mars in Cancer, and then the relationship themes and it's like it's a little bit easier to go deep when you have this great love. It's like we sort of have both at the same time. We have the difficult and we have the favorable. Not to sum it up that way because that's way too simplistic, but it sort of makes it easier to do difficult work if your conditions are favorable for that. If you're comfortable. um, Makes me think of that sort of saying of it's easy to meditate if you have a full belly and are sitting in the sun, right? And that's meant to tell us, hey, the practice is more rewarding, and you sort of get further when you practice during difficult periods. And so many other things that I don't even understand that's meant to teach us. But this is a little different. This see how I ramble when I don't stick to my notes. This is what I really mean with all of this is the way in which the comfort and the security of the harmony and the grace of the Venus and Pisces is sort of providing a little bit of a warm place to fall for Mars and Cancer to do some of this more difficult work. And I think that could lead to healing, emotional healing, even of old stuff. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee here. Okay. Let's see. Yes, I think we talked a little bit about the sensitivity of it, how emotions, for good or bad, are a little bit more accessible, and that can be good for emotions that are sort of old. Um, I wrote down re-understanding drive versus surrender and intuition, right? There's a potential here for us to re-understand our drive. Whenever Mars is retrograde, especially in a water sign. Again, I feel that Mars can be misunderstood in a water sign because we do things differently, but it's not necessarily bad. Drive isn't coming from the same place as it usually does. Maybe drive is coming from like a focus on family or a focus on others or on service or on emotions or what's being done, what's being driven toward is more emotional harmony. That might not be like the kinds of things that Mars gets into when he's in Aries or Scorpio or something, but it's worthwhile stuff. But I feel like Mars in Cancer is like Mars at home. Like Mars has to come home sometimes, and he likes being home. He likes to go out and do things and go to war and battle and all that and fight and make things happen, but he has to come home as well, and he enjoys being home. Okay, I think these two signatures all together also can bring in spiritual insights about relationships, right? We have relationship themes, we have spirituality, that coming together. This could come in maybe through a little sadness or conflict or stress, but not necessarily. Often we can gain insights through those kinds of things, but not all the time. I think there's the potential for that level of insight when it comes to themes of relationships. Another thing I wrote down is just the potential for deepening relationships, right? This kind of a combination working together could lead us to deeper, more meaningful, just wonderful relationships all around, not just romantic ones at all, but with everyone. Also, better boundaries, helping us to find our way toward better boundaries. Um, yeah, and breaking old patterns. I think there's the potential for breaking old patterns with a signature like this as well. So, um, I hope that that was helpful in some way. I'm going to take a minute to read over your comments now and see if there's anything there to talk about today. I appreciate your patience with me as I find my way with this daily live stream thing. I'm very new to this uh, uh, live streaming thing. So I appreciate your patience. I still don't have a screen share, but there's something I sort of like about um, just doing it with my phone. So I'm not super anxious to change that, although I am thinking about it. I hope that this conversation sort of feels like having a chat with your friend who happens to be an astrologer. I want this to be casual and fun and a place to sort of chat about astrology and anything else that comes up for us along the way. So I appreciate all of you very much, and I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the likes and the subscribes and any attention that you're giving to this live stream, or the ones that have come with it are much appreciated. I do feel like YouTube is picking it up a little bit more, and the more like the videos are interacted with, the easier that gets. So, all right, let me just take a minute. All right, I appreciate all of the encouragement so much. And yeah, I'm thinking about all of you. It's great to see you here. I'm starting to see some people that I've been interacting with more lately, which is so nice. Welcome everyone new to the channel. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you so much.